Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Cash. I help the League of Women Voters of North Carolina with their communications. I am here today with Gary Kenton. He is one of the newer members of the board for the League of Women Voters of North Carolina. And we want to talk to him about the work he's doing to create an advocacy team for the League. So Gary, first of all, thanks for being here. I want to start with, tell us a little bit about your background. You might be an unfamiliar face to folks, and how long have you been involved with the League?
Well, I've got involved with the League shortly after moving to Greensboro in the late 1980s. I worked with Carolyn Allen, who was president of the League in the Piedmont Triad and went on to become the first female mayor of Greensboro. And I served on the board for, 7, 8 years. I moved away from Greensboro and came back and then moved back onto the board again. So I've had two stints on the board in Greensboro. About a little less than a year ago, the state board came to Piedmont Triad and said, we don't have enough representation from Piedmont Triad. We're one of the bigger chapters, one of the more active chapters. And I was nominated. So as usual with the League, you're flattered and your arm is being twisted at the same time. So anyway, so it's been great. I've gotten to know a lot of new folks and learn a lot of new stuff and been given an interesting assignment.
Yes, so let's get to that assignment. What exactly is this advocacy team and why is this the time for it?
First of all, I want to say I'm not really creating anything. The League has been doing advocacy all along. But the League has this very well-earned reputation for developing policy positions on all kinds of issues. We're known for doing our homework and dotting our I's and crossing our T's. But there's no point in developing these great policy positions unless you're going to advocate for them. And the League has long done this. So we're just enhancing our capability to advocate for what we believe in.
And so my understanding is that we want folks to talk to elected officials outside of Raleigh, that we need people across the state to be engaging outside of Raleigh with elected officials in their own districts and really establishing a trusted long-term back and forth relationship.
That's exactly it. Now, we won't stop lobbying in Raleigh, but of course, geography makes that difficult. The League in Wake County has always done the heavy lifting of our lobbying because they're there. But it's become more difficult lobbying in Raleigh for various reasons. And then the pandemic made access even more problematic. So we recognized two things. One is that we might have better access to legislators in their home districts, but also it's some ways a better place to develop those relationships. And elected officials, they're not going to ignore constituents who live in their neighborhood and who are going to vote and who are likely to talk to other voters. And that, of course, is the League. So, the idea is to have as many of those conversations as possible. Like you say, it's developing these relationships long-term. We'll be approaching them on all kinds of issues, but you want to be able to establish those contacts so that hopefully they will take your calls. You get to know the staff people at the home offices, the district offices, so that you can have a dialogue going on over time.
Right. And when you say elected officials, I mean, this is not just General Assembly members, although they're certainly included, right?
Absolutely. What we have found on the issue of redistricting is a great example. In Raleigh, it's debatable how much lobbying in Raleigh can accomplish on redistricting. There are great people in the League and others working their hardest on that, but locally, county commissioners, city council people, they also draw maps It's not just the General Assembly. So in Guilford County, the Fair Elections Roundtable of the League has succeeded in getting both the City Council and the County Commission to engage in a process of developing new maps. They look different between the two of them, but from the League standpoint, that's a success. We've never done that before, getting our local officials to engage in this process and make it at least more transparent than it's ever been. The power to draw the maps still resides with these bodies, but we've expanded the dialogue, expanded the number of people at the table, giving input, and educating the public at the same time, which is, of course, always what the League wants to do.
And getting into the nuts and bolts of this a little bit, we want people advocating across the state. So you're asking for local leagues in North Carolina to essentially, send you 2 or 3 names. These are going to be our advocacy team members. Who's the ideal candidate for this? What all does it involve?
Well, I don't know if there is. Obviously, if some people are more comfortable just speaking in public or holding meetings, but the League, we have plenty of people who are not shy about that. And and it's really anybody. And you would never go by yourself to these meetings. That's not recommended, because if nothing else, you want a second set of eyes and ears to make sure that people are hearing the same thing, and to be, witness what takes place. But so it's really anyone who cares about the issue. The best advocates are always the one who are that are issue oriented and not, just, going through a political exercise. Right. Because the League, we have, again, a well-earned reputation for our nonpartisanship that isn't always recognized. Occasionally, we've had to file suit against one party or the other. So I understand why people don't understand that. But we've never been adversarial in the way we approached elected officials. We don't want to do that. We come with good information. We come with our well thought out positions, and we want to get in and have a discussion. And you can be, more pleased or less pleased with how it goes, but the important thing is to do it and keep doing it. So the ideal person is anyone who cares about that issue. And so we'd like to have this team of 2 or 3 people in each chapter, hopefully, who'd be willing to do that, who'd be on call when there's an alert, when there's some issue, or where one of our League action teams has identified an issue and they've come up with information, and they can tell, here's this bill working its way through the legislature. This committee member who's going to vote on this bill is in your district. So that's sort of my job, is to get that information, see which of the elected officials would be great to have conversations with, make sure that people in that chapter have that information, and then set them loose.
Yes, the League will definitely arm you with the information you need, and you're certainly not going it alone in any shape or form. So if folks would like additional information, if they're listening to this and thinking, gee, sign me up, what should they do?
Well, I'm available, and all of us, I think my email address is gkenton@lwvnc.org, but
I think it's Kenton. The League format
Kenton.
is just last name, Kenton@lwvnc.org. Yeah.
I apologize. Yes, thank you. Too many email addresses, too many passwords for me to keep track of. But yes, so any people have questions, I understand. People are hesitant. One thing I've tried to impress them on, this is not going to be another one of those committee assignments that's going to be monthly meetings and note takers and all that stuff. We'll meet. The team will meet just to discuss things in general, but we won't meet every month. It's basically, as I said, being on call. But if any people have questions, they should reach out to me, and I'll get back to them. And every conversation helps me also. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate, look, I teach, so I tell my students, questions are always good.
That's right. And I'll add that the league's general mailbox is open as well, communications@lwvnc.org, or you can reach out to Gary directly, Kenton at lwvnc.org. That's KENTON at lwvnc.org. Thanks, Gary, for being here, explaining this. Thank you for all you do for the league, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Andrea. You make it easy to do. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.